Hello everyone, welcome to Tarot by Cecilia on Patreon and members only on Facebook. This is your tarot guidance for the full moon in Libra, the second full moon in Libra, on April 19th, occurring at 29 degrees Libra. As I was sitting down to do this guidance, I realized that this particular full moon is such an important one. It brings a turning point. And the 29 degrees is a very karmic one. And it makes sense for me to put this. I have a lot of guidance out there this month. So it makes sense for me to put this full moon video out into the public and let people share it like crazy so that everybody has the opportunity to understand what's going on. Wherever you follow me, I do truly appreciate you being here. This video will give you an idea of what is available every month on Patreon and in my members only area. And this month I am offering the opportunity to join, have your first payment for April refunded, and then you will not be billed again until May the 1st. These are very crucial times that we are in, and just the more of you I reach, the better I think I'll feel about it. It will help with some questions that many of you may have. Now, as far as, just the fact that this is a full moon in Libra, okay, think about those Libra qualities for a moment, demanding justice and fairness and balance and all about relationships and the give and take. And this particular full moon has some highs, it has some lows, it has some difficult spots, and it has some bright spots, okay, because Uranus is in the mix, bringing surprise elements depending upon, where it falls for you, that, may make things a little bit tense. On the other hand, Jupiter's involved and can bring some wonderful things to the table. So we have a great deal to discuss here. And if you've never listened to my readings before, you'll notice that I don't just deal like with the day of the full moon. I often see things that I talk about that go months in advance and help to provide some direction. So first, let's talk about what this full moon means for your sign. Aries, do keep in mind that Uranus's current placement in Taurus has a great deal to do with your finances. So things that come up may come up out of the blue and have an effect on your money. Issues that come up could involve a member of your family, things around your home and around the areas of, your relationships, the love type, and pregnancies as well. Aries, whatever is going on, know that Jupiter's position near this full moon can really help to stabilize some things. So it ultimately, even if you feel really nervous about things at the beginning, it should all pan out just fine. One of the best things that you and every member of every other sign can do is to not overbook yourself, not overschedule yourself, not to take on too much at this time. It will make it easier to deal with anything that comes up. Taurus, I know that at the time of this full moon that Mercury has moved on and is now in Aries and, not in shadow, and that retrograde feeling is all over with. But at this full moon, it is probably the best way I can describe it. It's important for you to treat it as though Mercury is retrograde and apply some of those rules to what you do. Not just the lighter schedule that I mentioned a couple moments ago, but, the idea of, purchases and contracts, things of that nature. You will find that things that come up at this full moon for you tend to be like in your work sector and your health sector. It's a very good time if you want to make a big change. Remember, at that 29th degree, if you want to kick a bad habit and begin a new regimen, a new diet, whether you want to quit smoking or, go gluten-free, vegan, whatever it's about, go to the gym. This is the perfect time for it. Gemini, whatever comes up for you now could involve your children, if you have children. Also, I want to say in your love life, but not in the marriage, okay? So there can be some surprise elements there with partners, and do expect money to be in the mix as well. The money thing may turn out to be a big deal for you, and, keep in mind that the effects of the full moon can be felt 4 or 5 days in advance. And Gemini, if Jupiter plans to step up and help you, it will be through another, whether it's a spouse, a partner, to help see you through whatever crisis may occur. Cancer, it is very important for you to remain focused at the time of this full moon. There will be things around the home, family, your finances, which will demand your attention, your career, okay, your job. The things that everyone needs to keep in mind when Uranus is in play is that it's not necessarily always bad. Very often, Uranus can come in and offer some good things as well. So, the possibility of finances coming in rather than going out is also possible. Jupiter will be poised to help you with your work, and even new jobs are possible at this time. Leo, this full moon in Libra brings up the element of short-term travel for you. And in all likelihood, any travel that comes up unexpectedly like that will be related in some way to your finances. I am going to say the same thing to you that I did to Taurus. Don't sign anything at this time. Give it like another 2 weeks once we get into May, even though Libra itself is all about those contracts and negotiations. Whatever happens, Jupiter and the Sun will be available to you to soften the blow and help to sort things out. Go. Any unexpected news that comes your way is likely to be about money, and it can go either way. Jupiter is definitely your ally in all of this, so do be certain to allow yourself the time to focus on anything that comes up. Libra, this is after all in your sign, right? At the onset, this may very well appear to be a tension-filled full moon for you. Pay close attention to your finances at this time, as well as if you're an employed Libra, what is going on around you at work. You may see people exiting the job. When it comes to relationships and negotiations, it is wise to wait, say, another 6 weeks, before really having important talks and negotiations to arrive at the desired outcome. Libras will feel, this full moon very strongly on the days leading up and the days after it happens, so the news may definitely keep on coming. Scorpio, you've been listening this far, and by now you must know the drill. Keep it light, because this is a very tense full moon, and you will want to be available to take care of anything that comes up out of the blue. Remember that for you, Libra can deal with secrets, so anything is possible at this time. As far as relationships are concerned, we're talking all types of relationships, everybody that you deal with. And you may find yourself at odds with someone in a relationship that's very important to you. Keep in mind, it does not have to be any of these things, but there are also, if you have been dealing with things that pertain to your health, things can happen at this time that require your attention. And I'm going to stop with this. I mentioned secrets before, and it could go either way. Could be your secret coming out, could be you learn someone else's secret. Sagittarius, like pretty much everyone else, money issues can come up at this time, but there's also that feeling around, like the people that say you associate with, whether you are feeling betrayed or that someone is not treating you the way you feel you should be treated, or it could be that another individual is the one who has received the bad news, and you're the one who is there to lend a helping hand. To remember that you are blessed to have Jupiter in your sign this year, acting on your behalf, and this can certainly help to remedy the situation for you. Capricorn, this karmic full moon with its shocking aspects will fall in none other than your career sector. You could find yourself with more than one thing to deal with, things on the job front, things at home, and also for you, just like everyone else really, there are things around finances at this time, but for you it will come up like through a partner, but there does appear to be a great deal of conflicting energy here. Do keep in mind that while things may come up out of the blue that are tense and seem difficult to deal with, that Jupiter is there to put someone in your path to help you out. Aquarius, you have probably realized by now that I keep speaking of your ruler, Uranus, acting up at the time of this full moon. Whatever comes up for you at this time, you definitely will not have seen it coming. You may find that the silver lining is that a friend or associate steps in to help you through this matter. Pisces, we talked about this last month, I think, and I brought up that expense. Maybe last month you were able to put it off, but I told you that when this full moon came around, it was going to be necessary to pay the piper. The way I see it is that if Uranus appears to be giving you no choice, something that comes up that must be paid, must be dealt with, that Jupiter is going to come in another area, say like around your work perhaps, and to bring you something that helps to offset that. Okay, so whether there's a new job in the wings, a raise, a promotion, it appears to help balance things out. Oh my, these cards, they do not surprise me at all. They show up the difficulties that are here, especially around the things that make you feel secure. And one of those things just happens to be money, people. You heard me say pretty much I use the word finances or money for every single sign. So the struggles are there, the tension is there. This is not a stress-free full moon, but there are breakthroughs that are available. I'm telling you, it's like the universe has some weird ways, doesn't it, right? I'm going to just like throw this at you from left field and get you all shook up and then have you thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now, right? With something on your plate. You already have enough on your plate, right? And then here you get this whatever, depending upon your sign and things that are going on, thrown at you. And in most instances, those breakthroughs are coming through courtesy of Jupiter saying, here, let me give you a hand. Let me provide a victory in the outcome for you. So yes, the challenges are there, but the rewards are as well. Now, what's coming to mind right at this moment as I'm saying this, so I have to get it out, is that, as we've approached this full moon, we saw Mercury leave shadow and enter Aries. It's in the best place it's been in for months, okay? Jupiter is retrograde, but Jupiter, while it may not feel as powerful, when it's retrograde, it definitely is always doing good. The sense that I get from this is that whatever comes up, 29 degrees is an ending, all right? It's a karmic point. This is a turning point in your life. That's something that needs to be eliminated, something that you need to change. Those of you who listen to me all the time know that occasionally I bring up separations and celebrations. It's definitely coming. The freedom from the hard times, the give and take that's associated with Libra through the generosity of others, while some may feel as though this full moon brings them to their knees, they're going to find that there is some form of assistance that is there, being cause for celebration. It's almost as though it's designed to just like take you through it, to show you that you can do it, that you can overcome it, because it's right after, and I've brought this up a couple times before, right? We've got the full moon on the 19th, and then on the 20th, we have the sun entering Taurus. And at that time, around like the 21st, the 22nd, there's an opening there that I have discussed before that helps to bring in some clarity. And I have long felt that it gives you a view, like a peek, behind a curtain, as to what possibilities may be out there available to you. What is left is for you to overcome those hard times. You are so close right now. Taking note of a couple of the things that I've said, and I find it interesting that while Mercury is finally, after months, I tell you, in a much better place for you to think more clearly, to be more direct in your thoughts and your communication, having that clarity to tackle that to-do list is really, truly important. But like I also said, right around this full moon, like give or take a couple days, you're really going to want to almost act like Mercury is retrograde and just lighten that schedule, because the things that come up are going to demand your attention. They're not things that you can put off. Now, I feel that in spite of everything that's going on, you can really get the creative juices flowing, especially with Jupiter in the mix, okay, to help you with your vision, to help you with your plans. There is an ability here, in spite of everything I talked about, like, maybe feeling like the full moon brings you to your knees. It also allows you to, rise up, stand up, like come up, step up to the plate, in other words, and take charge of your life, feeling more self-sufficient, because one of your greatest areas of focus over the last couple of months has been to restore the power that you feel is missing in your life, whether that comes through financial security, better health, better living arrangements, better relationships, whatever it is, you have been working to stabilize that and put it on a good path. This full moon in Libra shows the two sides to things. The side of you that may feel trapped and being like, oh my God, what just happened? And the side of you that is still in pursuit of those hopes and dreams, that still is ready to go find that next big transition. And I really do feel that there is a big one that is on its way. There is a very heavy door that needs to be closed, and there are bound to be things that come up at this time that are a part of it, but not necessarily completely related to it. Now, one of the best things that you can do for yourself right now is to maintain a level of organization. Keep your priorities straight. This may be easier said than done, but something tells me that those of you out there who have an emotional reaction to full moons will feel this one very strongly. And it's in your best interest to try to stay more level-headed and keep that emotion out of it. Do your best to keep yourself grounded. So by now you may be asking yourself, okay, all this talk about finances, when does it really show a very noticeable improvement? Maybe where there's extra money in the bank, a little nest egg is starting to form, things feel more secure. Remember, the first thing that came up when I started this reading was your security. Okay, so I'm thinking here we're looking at late June, early July. I don't remember which guidance it was, but I recommend going and checking the recent ones out, because I seem to remember talking about the solar eclipse in Cancer on July the 2nd. That may have been in my Jupiter retrograde video, which is available at the $10 tier on Patreon. That's the only place that video is available. The best thing you can do for yourself throughout this time frame is to not neglect your priorities. Keep everything straight, keep a balance between work and home, and basically keep on going with the flow. Now, I don't know why the cards want to go so far out in advance, but they do. Stick with this full moon for the moment. I mentioned things like kicking bad habits, all right? This is a good time to do it, to really abandon things, because, like I said, we're at that turning point. We're at that karmic degree. What do you need to leave behind? What has been holding you back? And sometimes people, this is all about your free will. It's not anybody else. You can't lay the blame elsewhere, whether you've fallen into routines or habits that are, self-destructive, or at the very least limiting in nature. It's time to let go and leave them all behind. Now, if we fast forward for a moment to the time frame that I was speaking of, okay, which is that late June, early July time frame, that puts you into another segment of the story, which obviously I will deal with in other ones. I think I brought it up in the Jupiter video. But pay attention to the things that are taking place at this full moon, and obviously the new moons and full moons that come after. When you arrive at the full moon in Pisces on September 14th, yeah, that's a long way off, isn't it? It's like 5 months from now. Emotionally, that's a much better time, allowing you to breathe. So you're going through a couple different phases here, and I feel that this one right now is leading you into one of the biggest transformational periods of your life. You know, there are new beginnings that are coming as a result of this full moon. Do they happen at this full moon? No. But I have talked about the next full moon frequently, and that would be the one in Scorpio and the rebirth that's taking place once that full moon arrives. If you pay close attention and you follow the cycles in your life, then they will prove to be very interesting over the coming weeks and months, if not even right at this moment. Proceed from this point and you make various choices regarding your path and keep sorting things out. You know, this is that trying to eliminate the gray areas of life that don't belong, okay? It's either black or it's white. You know, I feel by the time that the solar eclipse comes on July the 2nd, that you're in that position where you feel in charge. So while this full moon is billed as tense and stressful and all these other things, it's like too many emotions jumbled in there, okay? It changes. And that's the part that you need to remember, I think, to keep you going if anything becomes challenging, because there is a more carefree feeling coming. And I still feel like that comes in June, all right? There is that desire to go for it. You know, you reach a point where after everything that you've been through and you mull over the past, all right, and the challenges of the past, you're ready. You're not ready right now, but you're going to be. And you're going to say, that's it. Something that seems so far, you know, far-fetched, let's put it that way, unrealistic to most people, will suddenly become where you feel the potential is there to realize it. So nothing, and I mean nothing, will hold you back. So there is a release that's coming with this full moon that's building into a whole nother energy that's coming your way to take you to that next part. I think faith is going to be a very key element in this. I also feel that anything that has come up in the past that rocked you to your core really could have taken you down, like all the way down. And, you know, at this point, you know, I think I mentioned like something could seemingly bring you to your knees, but it doesn't take you all the way down to the ground. That's important to remember, because I think at this point, whether you realize it or not, the stability that you've created for yourself, the more solid foundation that is there, it remains. When you see what's happening, you know, with the few days before this full moon, the few days after this full moon, pay attention even with your intuition, okay? Because while I feel there can be some tremendous revelations that come up out of the blue, I also believe that you have the ability to maintain the proper focus and make the right decisions. You know, there could be decisions in here involving particular relationships as well. You know, sometimes when these kind of extreme energies come up, they're meant to budge us from places where perhaps we've just become too comfortable, so we don't do anything about them. So the universe shows it up in such a way that something needs to be dealt with, all right? So you've got Uranus on one hand being disruptive, you've got Jupiter coming in, helping you to find solutions and to, you know, smooth things over a bit. Your actions and direction at this time still require that faith in the universe. You're not in charge yet. Remember, I said maybe by July the 2nd. Okay, so like over the next, let's say 8 weeks, there's a lot that's going on. But you have to remain, I want to say strong, like keep a stiff upper lip, because those wishes, those hopes and dreams are coming. Mark your calendar. The full moon in Sagittarius comes on June 17th. Something around that time. I keep saying in June, something feels really, really good. You're going to know it. It is something that pertains to a different form of happiness that you've never had before. What of now? But what about along the way? Well, along the way, there's a lot going on here regarding relationships. Remember, Libra full moon has a lot to do with relationships. Some are burdensome. Some are just difficult. Some are extremely disappointing. And some contain many betrayals. You know, by all counts, this is showing something here that is not easy. Now, it could be anything. You know how sometimes when people, especially at a full moon, okay, let's keep in mind, if this full moon is really tense and everyone's feeling all this tension, what I see here, what I feel from this, is that there could be someone, I'm not saying this is happening to everyone, but there could be someone who really acts out, someone who takes out their frustrations, their problems on you that have nothing to do with you at the time of this full moon. So what do? You don't argue over it. You don't fight back. You don't say anything mean. So I said, keeping a stiff upper lip, all right, that bite your tongue kind of mode. And having patience, I say for like the next 8 weeks, okay, because then things are ready to change. They're ready to move forward. I've talked about this in a number of the other guidances that I've done about how, when you focus on just what's going on with you, that is all that you can do. And the things that are going on with other people are out of your control, okay? But you can alter the course of things by how you react. So your best thing to do is nothing. Do not engage. Do not react. For when that full moon in Sagittarius comes and, people are in a better mood, if you have not totally cut them out of your life or eliminated them from your life, chances are they will still be there, okay? And things will begin to improve at that time. So lighten your load, people, because this is definitely a turning point at this time. Like I said, we've got Jupiter in the mix, we've got Uranus in the mix, a karmic full moon to boot, opening up pathways to you, putting you at important crossroads in your life, okay? This is almost like, I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but when you feel that there's crossroads coming up to you, and I feel like it's at this full moon, like, which way am I going to go? It has great bearing, okay? I don't feel like you can, put it off for very long, maybe a month or two, but definitely there are things that are happening that are there. They're changing your point of view. The universe is lining up this whole rebirth for you. You just need to be wise enough to see it. Listen to that inner voice. It's important. Whatever it is that you do that helps you remain grounded, okay, because there's going to be that tendency to want to overthink, and that can always get you into trouble. Like I always tell you, thoughts are things, okay? So manifest positive thoughts to manifest positive results. This is a powerful combination taking place at this time with the full moon in Libra and the sun moving into Taurus. And obviously there will be another guidance for that as well. I think I have that one slated to be a combo with Venus because they are actually running neck and neck and covering the same exact time frame. That's it. Look at this. June. Man, victories abound for you. You will be successful with your changes and reaching your goals. The emotional fulfillment is finally there. The cycles of the moons and the roller coaster that you've been on, when you get to, I'm staking my money on June 17th, the full moon in Sagittarius, give or take a couple of days. You're riding high by then. So something feels really, really good. And what that something is depends upon who you are and what you have going on. So I want to thank you very much for being here. I want to remind you that if you want to hear all of my other guidances that are available now and for the rest of this month, you can log into Patreon, download the Patreon app, follow me on Tarot by Cecilia. By paying the April fee for the subscription, it will be refunded to you, and then you will be billed again on May the 1st. I want to thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care.